I gotta tell you, nobody gets thrown through more walls than Momo, and this episode isn't any different. Jiji, the MVP. Jiji, the MVP. With everybody losing their marbles this episode, it felt like Jiji was the only person that really had it down. Yeah, Turbo Grany was there, she was around, but she wasn't really holding it down like Jiji did. Jiji was making sure that nobody offed themselves this episode, and I feel like that was the whole point of the show. I feel like if we lose the two main characters, then what's the point of the show anymore? I will say, without Turbo Grany, Momo definitely would have got the job done though. So I can say that it's a little smaller MVP trophy for Turbo Grany, but not that big enough for Jiji. It's weird how both of these things have the same exact power. The Mongolian death worm has the power to make you off yourself. How is that even possible, bro? So you mean they said that this little worm wasn't supposed to be as big as it actually is, or has actually how big has it gotten, right? So you mean to tell me a little small worm could have the same effect? That's borderline insane. With how big this worm is, it should make everybody in a village want to do that. Well, I don't want that to happen, but I'm just saying, bro, he's too big, bro, to make just like two people do it. Regardless, the man has been haunting Jiji is actually his protector. The evil eye, as Turbo Grany calls it, has been the one making sure all kids, and Jiji himself isn't the one that's taking their life. Only the adults, which I feel like is bad regardless, but you know, a win is a win no matter how insane it is. Jiji keeps ignoring all the warnings from Momo and Turbo Grany, which I don't quite understand, but I do understand that the only reason he's doing that is because of how good a person Jiji actually is. Obviously, the evil eye is protecting them, but they don't really know why yet. And that's when we finally get a glimpse of the pain and torment that the evil eye is actually going through. You see, the evil eye isn't some big, grown, skinny, slender man. He's just a kid who wanted to play with everybody. And honestly, I think that this is probably one of the saddest things to be shown in DanDaDan. You remember episode 7 in season 1 with the mom and her daughter? That was tear-jerking. That was enough to leave most DanDaDan fans either making them a permanent DanDaDan fan or making them sob out of their seat. The one thing that I can't really tell from this scene is it the Mongolian death worm making people do what they did? Or is it this little dude doing his little dance, making sound waves that make people do what they did? That's the only thing that I can't really understand. I see that his power is purple and the Mongolian death worms is yellow. So it makes me think the Mongolian death worm is a culprit here, but sometimes it's very confusing. I'm not sure if he's doing a dance because he wants to play and then they do that, or, you know, and that makes it very hard to, you know, it makes it hard for me to root for the evil eye, because I'm like, man, if you're the reason that these people's parents are doing this, then maybe you should just not be around people. I'm not gonna lie. I know you're a kid, you just want to have fun, you just want to dance with them like you saw them doing by themselves, but bro, I feel like you're able to see enough death and torture happen because of you and say, you know what, I'm gonna just stay down here. Regardless, the great people end up sacrificing every kid that gets left alone due to either evil eye or the Mongolian death worm. Do they have to do that? No, they never had to do this. They just did it in the tribal days, I felt like, and then just kept doing it. They just kept sacrificing people until the modern era of Momo, Okura, and all of them. That's why I say this episode is on par with episode 7 from the first season, because it's just sad. Not only are these kids getting left alone, but then these gray wannabe tribe leaders come in and take them and take their lives for no reason at all. There's nobody that's telling them to do this. There's nobody that's forcing them to do this. It's just pure evil intent. But after the evil eye shows Jiji and all this, Jiji is filled with hatred and disdain, and then it immediately breaks away from him. So I want to add the fact that Okura was tired after one burst all out. Isn't his normal like limit like 3 or something like that? I know he fought those great people earlier, but they tired him out to this effect? Being as sad as this episode was, Jiji is definitely the MVP. He said, I see this child suffering. I see this child getting tortured. I see that this child only wanted one thing, and that one thing was to play. And I know that child is still here, so I'm going to go save that child. When in his reality, he had to know that that kid was beyond like decomposed, right? Even Momo called it out and she hadn't even seen the vision. These houses are getting older and older and older as we go down, meaning they kept getting built on top of each other, meaning that this kid was one of the first kids to go through that torture and torment. So yeah, I salute Jiji. I'm so happy that he went down there and actually, you know, tried to save the kid, but his foolishness was the fact that it was kind of written on the walls. Not only was Turbo Granny saying the whole time to stop, don't do this, the evil eye is tricking you, but it should have been very apparent, it should have been very obvious that this is not a good thing to go do. And obviously it backfires when he tries to help out this kid. He says that I'll be around you forever, I'll play with you as long as you like. And the kid himself, the evil eye himself, said, well, you said it, as he devours him body and soul. Well, not really devours him, but he becomes Jiji and turns him into Itadori, well, the evil eye's vessel. I gotta say, the power scaling for the evil eye is insane. As soon as he pops in, he kicks Momo through the wall. I gotta say, bro, she has the strongest back in history. Bro, we saw her get her back pounded in by an alien in like one of the first few episodes, and she's getting thrown into this wall like 5 different times in this one episode. Like, I don't know how she's not dead yet. But not only with just kicking Momo, the power scaling for him is crazy. He puts up a shield that blocks out a super beam from the Mongolian deathworm, and then he loads up a soul-powered soccer ball and kicks it through the Mongolian deathworm that has an impact frame of black. I don't even look at this. Look, what am I looking at? This is Black Death on my screen, and he does that multiple times. Every time he kicks the ball, they show a different impact frame, and it looks better than the last every single time. He fought so well against the Mongolian deathworm that was so bigger and so much stronger than it originally was supposed to be that the Mongolian deathworm runs away. The same thing that Okudun blasted the head off of and didn't leave, ran away from Evil Eye. That's crazy. And honestly, that would have been the best thing to ever happen if the Evil Eye didn't turn around and send Momo flying again. But that sparked one of the greatest transactions or parries or whatever you want to call it between Okudun and Evil Eye. And honestly, when we get to this point in the show, I think that this will be the best fight that you will ever see in all of anime. And honestly, I'm rubbing my hands right now because I can't wait. DanDaDan. Honestly, bro, this show just never fails to surprise me. I know I've read the manga and I know what's gonna happen next, but I never really know what's going to happen next. When season 1 ended, I didn't think we were gonna get to Jiji at all. And then when we got to Jiji, it wasn't like a whole character discography. It was more like a, hey, there's Jiji. Oh, there goes the whole show. Where'd it go? You know? And when we came back to this, it felt disturbing because of what they showed, and obviously it ended with a pool scene, so obviously it'd feel like that. But what I'm trying to say is, this show is super unpredictable, even though it's like you already know what's gonna happen. It feels super unpredictable. I feel like that's why most people read the manga of certain things and then go watch the anime, because you really never know how they're gonna do it. You never know how they're gonna process it. You never know how they're gonna, you know, you get what I'm saying. Even with me saying it's one of the best adaptation shows, I would have never expected them to show how sad that scene with the kid was in Evil Eye. Bro, Evil Eye's origin story is probably one of the most saddest things I've seen since like Tim Drake and Batman. Is it Tim Drake or is it I think it's the great. It's one of the jokes, the one that turned into Red Hood, bro. It was on that level of sadness, bro. He thought that his parents would eventually come down and save him, but I don't even know if his parents were already dead at that point. And always something that made people go unalive themselves, bro. I don't know if I can say the other thing that is accurate because I don't want this video to get demonetized, but what I want to say is that he wasn't always the source of the problem, you know? So it feels like the Mongolian deathworm was really like the source of all of the betrayal that happened with him. And maybe the power like morphed into the Evil Eye and became one of the Evil Eye's abilities. I really don't know how it worked, because Turbo Granny said they got powers to make people like take over their mind and make them do that, right? So it feels like he turned into that because of the power that the Mongolian deathworm had. She didn't really explain that fully, and while I'm watching the show, I really don't understand that fully either. And I feel like that's the only confusion I'm really drawn with this. But the sadness of it all, bro, the sadness of a kid just wanting to play. Like, you were a kid once. Every kid wants to go play outside. Every kid, even the kids that are glued to their freaking iPads nowadays, still see kids playing on the swing set and say, "Mommy, I want to go do that." Now imagine you go do that and then their parents all just start, you feel me? Like, that would be the most insane shit in the world. It'd be the most insane thing thing ever. So I'm super happy that Jiji kept ignoring Turbo Granny and ignoring Momo, because I feel for the kid too. Even if the kid was gonna turn me into noodle soup, I still would go down there and try to help the kid. Now, I probably would stop around the 5th floor though, because once I start looking around and seeing, bro, these tatami mats, bro, they getting kind of old, bro. This flooring is turning into grass and rock. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, bro. Like, maybe I should listen to Momo and go back to the top. She knows more about this ghost and alien stuff. I think she might be right, especially since there's a talking cat telling me the same thing, and I've never seen the talking cat before. Has he? Well, I think he has met Turbo Granny before, but regardless, she's a yokai. She's a ghost herself. I was listening to Turbo Granny before I listened to Momo, honestly. And then when Evil Eye finally takes over his body, it's like a different feeling. Like you can literally hear the souls of the damned screaming when Evil Eye uses his power, because that's what his power is, I feel like. And that's why I feel like he morphed his power around the Mongolian deathworm, because that was his pain, that was his torture, and then he like morphed himself to be able to use that. But Turbo Granny said they all do that, so I don't know. But what I'm most excited for next episode, the fight between Okudun and Evil Eye, or technically Jiji. Look, man, I've seen those manga panels, and so far every single thing that they have adapted into the anime has been jaw-dropping chef's kiss. So when we finally get to the parts that have Evil Eye versus Okudun, I don't even know how Okudun got back down there, because as I said early in the video, one all out made him hit the ground, hit the deck, you know, hit the floor. So it's crazy that he even has enough energy to come back down there and fight, you know, because he's already tired out from the Great People's fight, and also like that one all out. So yeah, he's exasperated, but he was able to come down there and stop a ball that made the Mongolian deathworm run away. So it really is really like, what are we about to see here? But I don't know how to feel about any of this. Let me know down in the comments, how do you guys feel about this? And other than that, I have nothing else to say but like the video. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.